It's Roof Radio with B
and J.LOU.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Buenos dias.
Buenos tardes.
This is going to be an interesting podcast today because life has happened for us and you guys don't see the whole editing process and stuff like that. But sometimes our podcast can end up being an hour, 45 minutes, but the flow is still there. We just take out any dead air, unnecessary pauses or unexpected interruptions, things like that. So it's shortened, but all the tidbits and hopefully insight, inspiration, whatever is needed, those things get to you guys. But today, because as I said, life has happened, it's Saturday. Our podcast drops on Monday. So we'll have one day to edit. And it usually doesn't all happen in one day. So here we are. We're going to do our best. It's not a set topic. It's so much stuff going on with the election, voting, just the whole atmosphere. Everybody's kind of pushing in one direction. Did you vote? What's your thoughts on this? There's a lot of political talk, which I stay away from. And then just life in itself, of course, with the COVID, things opening and closing back up, the transition. Some people have actually gone back to work, unemployment, fraudulent things happening there. It's just a lot of things where it's like transitions happening. Half transition. Is it a full transition? Just all that stuff is happening. So we've been kind of moving around and trying to get acclimated to some things opening back up and just adjusting to what is going to be the new norm. So today, more so, if you are checking the temperature or if you haven't checked the temperature of the world, what's like going on in your own household? How are you adjusting and preparing to transition or get back to what is going to be the new norm? So that's all we're going to kind of touch base on. For you, Lou, how are you coming out of COVID? So that could be the title because I say transition, getting ready for the new norm. And we can just share how we're transitioning out, some things that may have happened while we were quarantined and how we're looking forward to moving forward, if that makes sense. I'm looking forward to moving forward in this way, that way. So yeah, that's what we're talking about today. So I'll just throw it back over to you and then I can touch on how I'm planning on moving forward and you just,
Before I start, I told you guys last week, I always find these interesting quotes or paragraphs that I like to share because I think that they're insightful. And this one spoke to me when it says, "Men are so simple of mind and so much dominated by their immediate needs that a deceitful man will always find plenty who are ready to be deceived." That was a quote from Niccolo Machiavelli, and his time on this earth was 1469 to 1527. So crazy that he would say something like that almost 4 or 5 centuries ago, and that's still relevant today.
Yeah.
But as far as the moving forward in COVID, it's so interesting because wintertime is about to come back around, and although things are opening back up, I posed the question to myself, I still have to be strategic because what if they shut down everything again because of the whole cold weather months and they don't want the virus or whatnot to go rampant again? So moving forward, I think we said it before, like even for opportunities, job wise for people, or even for myself, entrepreneurship wise, I've had a lot of time to sit and strategize on how to use the visual content or more or less the internet even more than we have before. Because for me, I think everything has a paradigm shift and you either pay attention to it or you're behind and then it happens already. So for me, musically, looking at all the things where people are doing visual concerts and trying to find ways to monetize their concerts with different apps or whatnot, both of us have been talking about that, trying to figure out a way to do that because concerts are no longer something that's in play as of right now. We never know when it's going to come back for it's just regular routine jobs and things, because these places are trying to, which I think is smart, they're trying to cut down on their expenses. I mean, a lot of the places that people are looking for, or a lot of the things that are open, is at home. So moving forward, I think those are things that I've been pondering about on my end. Mentally, you know how I go. It's an ebb and flow in life. As long as I'm reading and spending my time with God, and I'm not giving you guys politically correct answers, this is really how I try to get through my day, because this is turmoil out there. Like you said, the political race, I stay away from that. I get, voting. I get tuning in to who's running, and not just for president, but these other offices and things of that nature. But I'm just so jaded by all the cheating that's happened in that shit before, to the point where it's like, do I want to do that? Do I not? And I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I'm just saying, like, for people who are running around saying, don't even talk to me if you don't vote. Like, that's such a shallow way of dealing with somebody and not really understanding why they felt the way they felt with that. But all in all, I'd stay clear of a lot of negativity as much as possible. I'm sure everybody is trying to do the same thing. I would hope that you are. I don't necessarily know if I'm talking for you guys or myself as well, or a combination of both. But like she said, this is like an open-ended topic, so I'm just kind of spilling my guts here. Yeah, like I said, it's ebb and flow. It gets hard sometimes though, because you're trying to stay on track with whatever your God-given purpose is for you, and you want to assist others and fight the good fight, and then your flesh gets in the way. You know what I'm saying? And it's not easy. I don't ever want you guys to ever hear this podcast and think that I should say, come on here and be motivational speakers, because that's so far from what this is supposed to be. I really try to be candid and transparent about my mental state without divulging information that I feel is private to me, but I want to be as transparent as possible, to the point where it's so relatable, if that makes sense to you guys. But yeah, no, I definitely have. B almost had a blunder. She almost knocked her whole mic off the stand. She was fired up about what I said. No, I'm just playing. But no, yeah, I'm human, guys. She is too. So there are days and times, like even with this podcast, I really didn't feel like doing it. I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't. But I do feel like it's an obligation to do this because of the fact that it's a purpose, and I'm all about that. And I can think of 100 things that I probably would be doing right now, and I would be looking at myself like, damn well you could have knocked that podcast out. You over here, you got time to be on Instagram scrolling through here. How about now? You got time to play a little 2K. How about now? You know what I'm saying? So as much of the mental battle that goes in and outside of your head for you guys, like if it's a purpose that you have or something that you're trying to move forward and get in a place, just do it. Fight through those walls and barriers that come into play, because they gonna come, man. It's inevitable. There's no way to stop shit from coming your way to where it will try to detour you from doing something. So that's how the moving forward in COVID or post-COVID or wherever we are with it, because I don't know if we're at the beginning or the end. That's why I said each day brings its own specific task. So
yeah, well, one of the things you said that made me laugh when you said I wasn't up for doing it, interesting tidbit. I have a passion for helping people in any capacity that I can. I just love it. And this was something I wanted to do when I shared it with Lou, and we talk all the time, which we convert to topics, but it's really different and we've said this before, probably say it 1,000 times after to come, when it's not even so much as forced, but it's like the mic's on, let's talk, versus we just are having a conversation and one falls over into another and it spirals into another, and it's like, I didn't know that, and you have these aha moments and so on and so forth, and then I'm just like, wow, what if somebody else didn't know this, or what you just said, I wish somebody would have told me, or something like that. So I'm just looking for every way to use everything that I have to help people. So for me, moving, transitioning or coming out of COVID, but I'm with you, whether we coming out, going in, because technically it is flu season is coming up.
Exactly. See?
You know, so I feel like this has reaffirmed in so many ways legacy for me. I already looked at legacy in a way where it's just like, you know, some people, you know, depending on what your definition of legacy is or how important legacy is to you. I don't look at it as just my children and my grandchildren. I look at legacy as in any way that I can leave a catalyst or stepping stone for someone else to be better, to bring their passion or purpose to fruition. And hopefully they'll be inspired from one person to another, so on and so on, domino effect. So I'm looking to do that, inspire, impact, empower, just help in any capacity. And the next person does it, and the next person does it. So COVID reaffirmed that in so many ways. This whole quarantine shutdown, it really helped me get even more back on track, because in previous podcasts, we've talked about how Real Fit was started 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then got busy with other irons in the fire, you know, helping. And you know what can happen sometimes, you're helping everybody else, but your stuff fell by the wayside. You telling everybody else, make sure you cross the T's and dot the I's, but you don't even have your own stuff together, you know? So we put it on pause, because to me, it's just like, I would rather help someone else, or you just get caught up with that. Or sometimes it's like, I can do that, but this right here has to happen for them right now. The mics are there, the podcast is there, we can have a conversation. And this shutdown really was an awakening, or in the famous words of J. Lou the artist, there's no pill harder to swallow than reality's lessons. So I mean, man, that bar in itself is just like the lessons of, I'm gonna make you make time for this. That's what I got in this. It's just like, I was so busy, and under the guise of I'm helping here and I'm doing there, and I just don't have enough energy and time for that. When you said, yeah, I'm playing 2K, sometimes it don't even be that. You know what I'm saying? I'm working out and I'm drinking my celery juice and I'm making these boards, and then I'm gonna go and help the kids. And then after that, I got a phone call and let me help this person over here. And you know what? I keep putting this off, but I'm gonna go over there and give to them, because you know they don't have any help. And you just keep on going, and then you look up and it's like, I'm gonna get to that tomorrow, because we can do that. We're gonna talk. We got a lot to talk about. And we were separated. We were shut down and separated. And that to me was like, whoa, you've made it like you can't go help anybody. You got to stay isolated by yourself. And now the mics are there. Do what you need to do. So I'm just moving forward in legacy and just making sure that what I want to do is not just left as a desire in my heart or unfinished business in my mind. I need to not only think it, but manifest it. I need to make sure that I am finishing what's on my plate too. That is as much of a priority as anybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
And not so much as so, but got to really allocate my time better. It's like, okay, I can give this much time to you, and then you're going to have to carry the weight, because I have to get this done. This is work. You don't tell your job, you know, I know I got to do 8, but I can only come for 5 hours. You know, I can give you 8 tomorrow, but on Friday, it's only going to be 3. You know, you commit to 40 if you're full time, and some overtime if asked. So my legacy is that important. If I, God forbid, die tomorrow, any place I'm employed, they're going to get somebody else to take my position, and the wheels on the bus keep going round and round. But what's in my mind, what's in my heart, what I'm passionate about, I got to get that out. There's a sense of urgency, you know? So I'm moving forward, transitioning, whether it's out or in, with a sense of urgency, that time is of the essence, understanding the importance of legacy, and understanding that my time being allotted for this or that is a huge factor in me finishing what I came here to do. And I mean that when I say I feel like I was born to do exactly what I'm doing. I can't see myself doing anything else in life. And being sat down like this too, I think it's going to be really hard for some people out there to transition back into a regular 9-to-5 because of what they've been doing in this shutdown. And I think it was designed to be like that, so that you have to continue to do that. You may have to stretch your faith a bit, figure some other things out, but it's going to be hard to go back into a workplace if you have been doing what you are passionate about, if you have been really knee deep in your purpose. Like, I know without a shadow of a doubt, this is not a hobby. I live and breathe to do this. This is what it is. And because you discovered it during the shutdown and all this time was there, and the separation, it was just, I'm not going to say it was made easy, but more accessible. You were able to get your ducks in a row. So don't stop doing that. when things begin to open back up and people are moving around and it's like, oh, we're back. Stay the course. That's where I'm at with it. Just stay in the course. And no matter what, we left on Sunday to drop the podcast on Monday, pack the equipment up in the car, and Lou was in a hotel room editing the rest of the podcast for it to drop this Monday. You know, we weren't even finished and we had to make a move. Just things are happening around us. You know, you can't control people, time, but you can execute better. You can control your faith and your effort. And packing that stuff up in the car effort wise, he was a champ about that, and everything dropped the way it's supposed to. And as long as we are breathing and able to do this, even now, you know, this podcast, like I said, it's not going to be a long one. It's transparency here. Hopefully you know right where we're at. I believe that this is not for everybody, but it's right on time for the group, for the people that are supposed to hear this. You know how it gets, you know how it is. So I wanted to make sure we still drop this Monday, and the whole focus of this open dialogue is just to transition out, the adjustments, the norm that's coming right now. Make sure you stay the course. Whatever's been going on, don't lose the momentum, sight of the passion. Don't fall back into, well, this is the way it was. No, everything happens for a reason. I believe even all this happened for a reason. And if you were able to sustain and create and have sound mind during this time, I mean, it still was crazy stuff going on, but it could have got really crazy, and you had your health and you were able to do some things during this time, that was by design. So keep it up. We're rooting for you in hopes that your passion or purpose does come to fruition, whatever it is, because somebody's waiting on it and they need that. Then they can do what they need to do, and so on and so forth. That's where I'm at with my transition, my adjustment, my new norm for coming out of COVID.
Yeah. As you said, helping and assisting people. This is a way of helping and assisting people, just using every fiber of your being. And this is one of the ways that you're doing it. God obviously did what he designed it to do, sit people down to think and try to get them back on the ship. While for you, probably it's like, okay, well, that got shut down. What else can I do? Ooh, I like to talk. Why don't we crank that back up? Mics was there. Like you said, everything was set up. There's no reason why we shouldn't have did it. So I'm definitely in agreement.
Yeah. And you guys, we can see, I know somebody's listening. Don't be shy. If you want to jump into conversations, this one or a previous podcast, you have any questions, comments, concerns, a suggested topic, you can always shoot us an email at realfitradio@gmail.com. As always, we hope this inspired, impacted, or empowered someone. Until next time.